In this video, we're going to be repairing this Honda Civic Type R, so stay tuned, and don't forget to like the video, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. So we've got a lot to do to this car. Let me show you what some of the damage is. So you can see here the frame rail is bent pretty good. We're going to be replacing that. We're going to be replacing this upper rail here. It's getting a new cradle, new front end. I believe this frame rail right here is okay, but we're going to check the measurements on it just to make sure. We've got to replace this uniside, which is basically this door opening here, this door opening here, and the quarter panel. We've also got two new doors, a new rear bumper cover, the new side skirts for both sides. So let's get this thing clamped down on the frame machine. We'll get some measurements and do our rough pull. Before we do any pulling or measuring, let's go ahead and get this damaged cradle off. Here we're separating the brake caliper from the suspension so that it can stay with the car and we don't have to disconnect the brake lines. We're also going to use a small bungee here and hang the caliper up from the chassis. That way there's no pressure on the brake line where it's going to cause a kink or any problems with the brake lines later. We've got our damaged cradle out of the car. We've got our measurements set up here. So let's go ahead and get this car measured out and do our initial pull. So we measured to the pickup points for the cradle on the back part of the cradle, and they're in the right position. So everything to this point on the car is correct. So we need to focus on everything in front of that. So I think we're going to kind of maybe set the cradle up here and kind of test fit it, and then we'll do our initial pull on this frame rail here. Since this is all bent up on the bottom and it's going to interfere with us test fitting this new cradle, we're going to take the saws off and just kind of cut that off and get it out of our way. And we're also going to get this brand new cradle unwrapped. This is what we're going to be test fitting. Alright, so we got this cradle kind of sitting in here loosey-goosey. It's basically just set up in here and nothing's really tight. But it gives you an idea. This bolt goes through this hole here, and it's supposed to actually bolt to this frame rail like this one. It's that piece we cut off. Fills most of the gap, but it kind of gives you an idea where this frame rail needs to be in correlation with the cradle. So we're going to grab this thing, do an initial pull, try to get some measurements, and then we'll probably end up just cutting this off and setting the new pieces up there and getting those fit to this cradle and measurements.
but just hold on to me. Calling, then you stop calling. I'm not used to hearing the sound of silence. Your lips have been silent. When did you get filled with doubt? Don't go thinking love is lost. We don't have to watch it fall. We can put back together our hearts, yeah. Don't be scared, just take my hand. So much we can't understand. When did you get filled with doubt? So easy to give it all up when it gets a little tough. But just hold on to me. But just hold on, just hold on, but just hold on, just hold on. Just hold on to me. Don't go thinking love is lost. We don't have to watch it fall. We can put back together our hearts, yeah. Don't be scared, just take my hand. So much we can't understand. When did you get filled with doubt? So easy to give it all up when it gets a little tough. But just hold on to me. Don't let go of what it was when you know you found a way. Just hold on to me. Just hold on, just hold on, but just hold on to me. Just hold on, just hold on, but just hold on.
All right, so we've got everything pulled and we've cut away all the damaged parts. So now we can start test fitting these new parts. Alright, so we've got all these new parts all trimmed and test fit on the car. We've got them held on with a few tack welds and some vice grips. So let's go ahead and start hanging the hood, the fenders, and the front bumper and make sure all the gaps look good. Alright, so we've got the front end set on this thing. All the gaps look good, so we're going to pull the front end back off of it, start drilling the holes where we're going to be welding, and get this front end welded up. So we've got the front end all welded together. Now we can move to the right side of the car where we need to do a little bit of pulling, and then we can start cutting off all these damaged parts on the side of the car. So to cut off the outside skin of the right side of the car, we utilize quite a few different tools. Now the first thing you saw me use was an air hammer with a little cutting bit, and we use this for cutting out the larger open areas so that we can see what is behind the panel so that we don't accidentally cut into something that we're not supposed to. Now the next thing is going to be a drill for drilling out the spot welds. Now some of the times you can't get to certain areas, so we'll use the grinding belt grinder to reach those areas. And the areas that are open, that are easy to get to, that we can grind, last but not least, we use this grinder. Now all of these tools really do well in certain areas, so we try to utilize them all just to make the whole job a little bit easier.
Junk is something you keep around for years and throw it away about 2 weeks before you need it.
Alright, so that's going to be about it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and clicking on the bell icon. That way you won't miss any future content. The next video in this series, we should be getting the uniside welded onto the car and hopefully get this thing into paint. Now, if you have any thoughts or questions about any of my videos, you can leave it in the comment section down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya!